my sister is here for this video. She's very excited. So if you see me laughing nervously or making comments that I wouldn't usually make, it's because she's here.
And I'm always watching.
Okay, so it was recently my birthday, and for my birthday, because it was my birthday, we went to a bunch of bookshops in the city, which is what that little montage that you saw was. I also got a few books from my family, and I thought today I would just show you what those books were. While I'm at it, I'm going to show you some books that I've recently hauled from thrift stores. Most of my books are thrift store books. Every now and again I will treat myself and go to, you know, a real bookstore and get real books. But most of them are thrift store books. We live around the corner from a thrift store, which is very dangerous. Since we've moved here about like 2 months ago, my book collection has just expanded very dramatically because they're $2-3 a book, and it's dangerous. Okay, so I will start out with books that were given to me by my family in the morning. I actually restrained myself pretty well with books that I bought during the day. I'm very proud of myself. All right, so first book that I unwrapped was the Arabian Nights. It makes that sound whenever you show people it. So my sister and I actually saw this in a thrift store a little while ago, and I was trying to bully her into buying it because I had too many books that day. But she refused to buy it, and she went to a bookstore with my mother and bought it for my birthday. It's freaking beautiful. I might end up doing a video of my most beautiful books one day because I have a really nice collection of sexy books now. Yeah, the spines on the shelf all look beautiful together. This is a freaking woofer of a book. The illustrations are gorgeous. There we go. Yeah, it's also translated fiction, which I want to read a lot more of. Look at the back of that. Holy moly. Look at that.
Find out what that means.
Yeah, inside of that. Damn. Yeah, Barnes & Noble. I think my Robin Hood book is a Barnes & Noble book as well. So freaking beautiful. I haven't read any fiction of kind of Arabic origin yet, so it'll be interesting to see what that's like. So many beautiful illustrations inside. Very excited to read this one. That was first. And then the sister who sits beside me, she took herself off to the thrift store and she sacrificed the greatest thrift finds for my birthday, and we thank her. So we've got two. We'll do this one first. So we've got Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, but not just any Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Reader's Digest. Great Expectation by Charles Dickens. Okay. There's a little you know what this might even be? There's one of these little kind of Reader's Digest magazine thingies inside of it. I have a copy of Anne of Green Gables that has a copy of one of these inside for Anne of Green Gables. This one is for the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes. So I wonder if the person who used to own this book had a Reader's Digest copy of the memoirs of Sherlock Holmes and put it in the front of this book. So really it's like two adventures in one, this book, which is freaking amazing. So I don't have any Charles Dickens yet. I tend to associate Charles Dickens with this sister who's with me at the moment, because whenever we go book thrifting, come on in. Whenever we go book thrifting, I always bully her into buying Charles Dickens, and she hasn't actually read any Charles Dickens yet, but one day she will, and she'll be thankful. No, she hasn't. She wants to read Oliver Twist soon. Yes, but this copy is beautiful, and if you're going to have a copy of a classic, you might as well have a unique one. Lovely, lovely illustrations. It's pink inside. Yeah, so very, very excited to read this one. It's even got a list of characters, like it's kind of a play in the front. I don't know if that's kind of staple for Charles Dickens books, but that's cool that it's in this one. So we got that one there, another hardback. And then the final book that was received on my birthday was this freaking beautiful copy of The Scarlet Letter by, what's his name? Nathaniel Hawthorne. Look at the freaking pattern. Look at that.
My greatest sacrifice.
Yeah, she had to sacrifice. On her birthday, I found this beautiful kind of collective copy of books by the Bronte sisters, and it was just a heart wrench to kind of thrift that and then to have to kind of give it to her on her birthday. But then she repaid the favor by finding this copy of The Scarlet Letter and having to give it to me on my birthday, so now we're even. For some reason, I thought that The Scarlet Letter was written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I don't know where I got that idea. She's bought the copy of the book I got her for her birthday. Look how beautiful that is. I gave that up for my sister. That's love.
Shut up, I gave you 2.
Yeah, that's true. She gave me 2. Yeah, so I was not aware that the Scarlet Letter is a romance story, which makes me want to read it so much more now. I thought it was like a Sherlock Holmes story for some reason. I don't know where I got that idea from. Illustrations in it again. So many beautiful illustrated books. It's one of the greatest and most enduring masterworks of American literature, which is freaking exciting. I have no idea what this book is actually about. This copy came out in 1984. How sick is that? So, no idea what this is about. We're going to read it and find out. I also don't know what Great Expectations is about.
It's about your expectations and how great they are.
You heard it here first. Okay, and then also on my birthday, went book shopping. Restrained myself very well. Only bought 2 books. So, first store that we went in was a Dickens, and I got The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I am so excited to read this. So this one is about a circus that kind of appears without warning at the end of the day, and in the morning after, it's gone. That's all I know about it. I know that people go crazy for this book. I've seen a lot of people who have similar reading tastes to me talk about this book like it's their favourite book, which gives me hope that this may in fact be one of my favourite books. I read kind of the first 4 pages on my birthday. Sounds amazing. Very excited to read that. I might put that on my more kind of my closer TBR. So this was from the Dickens. We also went to a bookshop called Elizabeth's Bookstore? Is it Elizabeth's Bookstore? Elizabeth's Secondhand Bookstore. And I got a copy of Dracula. So this was $12.
Wow.
So thank you. I've seen a lot of copies of Dracula around, but I don't want to like spend $20 on a classic when I have so many other classics that are waiting to be read. But this one was $12 in the store, and I was like, you know, I do want to read Dracula eventually, so why not get it now? Don't really know much about the story of Dracula beyond it's a vampire in a castle. That's it.
So it'll just
that's the basic gist. It'd be interesting to see where the, you know, what actually happens in this book and why it's so famous in the first place. Okay, so now we're going to get into books that weren't kind of obtained on my birthday. They were obtained kind of before when I went thrifting. That's my sister spraying whipped cream into her mouth. No, I'm good. Okay, so as I said before, most of my books are thrifted. I see a lot of talk about overconsumption on BookTube, of kind of, it's a trend to buy too many books or to buy too many editions of books just to kind of have them or to do hauls and things like that, which I am very aware of, and I'm trying to rein myself in when it comes to buying books. However, these ones have already been purchased. They were all purchased from thrift stores, and I do want to read them all. So, first one is a really, really old copy of Jonathan Swift's Gulliver's Travels. When my sister and I were together when we got this one, we actually saw a different copy of Gulliver's Travels at a different thrift store beforehand. It was really, really beautiful, but it had a giant sticker on the front, like covering half of the cover, being like, oh, recently turned into a movie. And I couldn't make myself buy that copy, because then I would fall in love with it, and then I would have a book on my shelf that just had a giant sticker obscuring it. But the next store that we went to, this was there, and give me an old book that looks like it's going to fall apart as soon as I read it any day. All I know about Gulliver's Travels is that it's a classics, and also that it's about a guy who goes on travels whose name is Gulliver. Oh. And he I think does he go to the island where there's a bunch of little tiny people? I feel like I've seen that image somewhere. And it's also on the front cover, so I think I'm correct, yeah. But Gulliver's Travels, this isn't on my very close TBR. This is kind of a one day I will read this, but it's not on my top list at the moment. Alright, the next one was Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. Look how freaking beautiful this is. I love these editions. This is my only one, but I'm keeping my eye out for them. These are the ones that if I see these in the thrift store, screw over consumption, I'm going to collect them. I have like 3 or 4 Thomas Hardy books, and I haven't read him yet. So
what else has he done?
He's done Tess of the D'Urbervilles, Far from the Madding Crowd. I think that's it, actually. I think that's all I have. Yeah, those are all the books that I have by him so far. I'll probably start with Far from the Madding Crowd or Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I've heard that this is just the male version of Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and I've heard that it's miserable. So we'll see how we go with Tess of the D'Urbervilles first before I do Jude the Obscure. I'd like to read Jude the Obscure and this one right next to each other. I don't know what this book is about. I just know that it's miserable. From the back of the book, it sounds like it's somebody who marries someone who he doesn't love, ends up moving in with his cousin and becoming an outsider, and it's about the effects of that on him. So we'll see. Okay, all right, so next one that we're talking about is Sue Monk Kidd's The Secret Life of Bees. I love Sue Monk Kidd. I've already read this before. I think I read this when I was like 15, 16, so about your age. Yeah, I've already read this before, but when we saw it in the bookstore, I was like, okay, I would like to put that actually on my shelf. I have The Invention of Wings on my shelf. I think I prefer this one better. It's about a young girl who believes that she has killed her mother, and she goes to live on like a beekeeping farm with 3 sisters, and I remember crying at the end of this. I can't remember why. It's been long enough that I don't remember exactly what happens, but I remember closing this and being like, damn, that was good. So, very excited to read that one again. Okay, the next one is an Australian one, which I'm very excited to read. I feel like there's not enough Australian books on my shelf.
Or enough good authors.
So this is called The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. It's about a young lighthouse keeping couple who get a crying infant wash up in a boat on their little island. Sounds good. I like books about the ocean as well. All of my books that I've read that have been like about being in the sea or by the sea, that's just, it suits me. It suits me. So this is quite high up on my list of things to read. I went thrifting right after I just got back into kind of reading fantasy books. I talked about this last time, so I read a bunch of classics in ordinary places, and I kind of wore myself out of reading about the usual. So I was reading a fantasy book and I was keeping my eye out for fantasy books, and I picked up this one, Lost in the Netherwoods by Aiden Thomas. I don't know if I'm actually going to read this. Looking at it now, I'm not sure. My sister wants me to show you the hardback underneath. It's okay. It's not anything spectacular. It does feel nice though. Feel how smooth that is.
I like when they have like a little something on there.
Yeah, a little extra.
Like Alice in Wonderland one.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how I feel about this one. This one is a Peter Pan retelling. I see on the back cover of the book that the author has won awards for previous books, so it might be good. But I don't know, I have a bit of an apprehensive feeling about it. It might be a little bit too young for me, looking at it now. But there's only one way to find out, and that is to read it. Aiden Thomas is the author that wrote The Cemetery Boys, which I feel like I've heard that before. But I can't remember if I heard that in conjunction with, oh, that was really good, or if I heard that in, The Cemetery Boys, These 2 books I thrifted on the same time. Someone donated their Jules Verne collection. So I thrifted 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea and A Journey to the Center of the Earth. What is that movie? I only know about A Journey to the Center of the Earth because of the movie. Is it with Brandon Sanderson?
One of them is.
That's an author. Brandon Sanderson is a fantasy author. Yeah, that's right. Josh Hutcherson. So I know about Journey to the Center of the Earth from the movie.
With Brendan Fraser. And has Josh Hutcherson in it. And the second one's got Josh Hutcherson and The Rock.
Nice. The back says, in an ancient manuscript, Lyndon Brock finds a cryptic message written in runic. Cracking the code leads the duo to set out on a quest towards the literal center of the earth, aided by Hans Bjelk, an Icelandic hunter and guide. That sounds really good. I love like ancient hidden ruins and stuff like that. That's right up my alley. So excited to read this one. And then 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This is the one with Captain Nemo in it. Similar sort of thing. I love, like I said before, the ocean being under the sea, and I love kind of ancient forgotten Atlantis, all that kind of thing. So this kind of hits that as well. So very excited to read both. This is also a really nice copy. My sister recently got a copy of The Portrait of Dorian Gray. That is also a Collins classic. They're just, she's making faces. So haven't read any Jules Verne yet. I've got a really good collection of authors in my room now, especially classic authors that I haven't read yet, but I've heard so much about. So Thomas Hardy, Jules Verne, Agatha Christie. I've just got so many people to get to. Another person that I have to get to is E.M. Forster. I have got quite a few E.M. Forster books, and I thrifted this kind of collective storybook. So in this one is Where Angels Fear to Tread, A Room with a View, Howard's End, and A Passage to India. She wants me to show you what's underneath. I feel like those are the books that I hear about from Ian Forster the most. I've heard so many good things about Ian Forster. So very excited to eventually get to this. This is a nice old copy. That's the best part of thrifting a hardback. You never know what you're getting underneath. So it's pretty simple, but it feels nicer than that Neverwood one. Fairly old. It might fall apart when I'm reading it. When is this? I love to see when these old books are from. 1988 this book is from. Dang. Pretty cool. Not incredibly old by book standards. She's killing herself over there. She thinks she's hilarious. Yeah, so not an incredibly old edition by book standards, but fairly old still. That is it. So that is all of the books that I got for my birthday and all of the books that I have recently thrifted. These are the most recent additions to my thrifted book collection. So to finish off for today, I'll tell you what I'm currently reading. I am currently rereading The Throne of Glass by Sarah J Maas. This is part of my mission to reread all of my books on my shelf and determine which ones are still giving me joy, to Marie Kondo that business. About halfway through, I'm liking it. I didn't expect to like it again. I thought that I would read it again and you know, not have the same experience because I read this when I was quite young, but I'll leave telling you my in-depth thoughts about that for my December wrap-up. Also, look at my bookmark. How cool is this bookmark? It's a guitar. My sister is also very excited to show you not only what she is currently reading, but her favourite book. So right now she is reading...
Currently reading The Great Gatsby. And I'm only a little bit in, but so far pretty good. It's about, from what I can tell so far, posh, rich, white boys and partying together and doing drugs and things like that.
This sister that's with me right now has just this year really got into reading, and it's finally.
Like my sister has said, I'm only just getting into it again and I'm finding my niche. And so far, the best book I have read so far is, can I have a drum roll? The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. This is the best book ever.
So I don't know if you remember last video or the video before, I was talking about, I went and thrifted a copy of The Book Thief that wasn't the movie Book Thief, but ended up, I was too attached to the movie copy and I gave my sister,
Lord and behold,
this copy. When she finished it, she sent like 6 Snapchats of her weeping.
Sobbing.
Weeping.
Snot dripping. Tears drenching.
Yeah, it was a sight. I'm kind of jealous. I can't cry like that at books. No matter how sad the book is, the most I'm going to get is like, oh. But she was like red.
It's just so beautifully written. That's my favorite thing about it. It's from the point of view of death, and it just is so it's just so.
So that is her favorite book. And that is all that we have for you today. That was a fairly long one.
Insert incredibly witty parting line here. Good day.
Thank you very much for watching. Take care and I'll see you next time. That might be corny.